I've never done a YouTube video before, so this is my first one. Anyway, I'm just gonna fix my Delta faucet head. It has the spray button gets really sticky and hard to move. And I looked all over the place on the internet, couldn't find a how-to on fixing it. So I took it apart myself and broke it down and found out that it all came down to one O-ring, a small O-ring and the plunger assembly that's connected to the switch. Anyway, you just you take the head apart and you get the plunger assembly out of the head of the faucet and just replace the one O-ring and you'll be good to go. And it works nice and smooth now. The O-ring just breaks down over time. We've had ours for 4 years now. And the replacement head, which is the only thing Delta sells, costs $150 on their website. O-rings are considerably cheaper. I bought a bunch of them just to have them as backups. I think I paid $2 just now at Ace Hardware. So it definitely pays to do a little research and not give up. And I know it's probably really hard for your wife. My wife, it takes her like 2 hands to push the dumb thing because it gets so gummy because the O-ring is worn out. But anyway, I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's this head right here. Pop the switch off. The switch is this guy. When I say switch, I mean this thing. You push back and forth to get the shower stream. It used to be very difficult to push, but I replaced the O-ring today, and now it's back to normal. Anyway, the first time I did it, I took this coupler off and then took the head out. You don't really need to do that. I discovered today that you only need to take out the switch. Then there's a screw in there. Let me set this up so you can actually see what I'm doing. Okay. So you get a screwdriver in this part right here, and you have it advanced a little bit, and you just pop it off. It comes off. It's just on a rocker arm. It pivots on these two, on this fulcrum right here. The plunger's right down in there. It's a little white thing. See down there? And what you do is you get a Phillips, unscrew this, one screw, and then that's it. And it's ready to come out. This pushes up. You might have some gunk and buildup in yours. I did a little bit in mine. So the gunk and buildup I cleaned out already. So mine looks kind of new. But and I also descaled the bottom with some CLR. Anyway, there's a little plastic piece here, like a spacer. You really don't want to lose that because it's where the screw goes back in. Just take that off. It comes off just like this, just pulls right off, a little tiny thing. Looks like this. Okay, so you put that to the side with your screw, and then the plunger assembly is here. The plunger assembly is this guy. And this little brass key is what's holding it in. And you just take a flathead, put it in there's a little notch behind it here. You take the flathead and pry the key out. Easier said than done, I guess. I got it really easy the first couple times. Anyway, you can get it from the front too. There's a little slot there. You put your screwdriver in there and pry it out like this. And then just let it drop in the sink. Pick it up, put it by your screw and all your other parts. And then you're able to pull the plunger assembly out. So I just got a screw behind this little head, and it pulls. If you pull on it, it pulls right out. So this is the plunger assembly that controls your switch. It's got a bunch of O-rings on it. The only one that matters, that gunks this whole thing up, is inside. So once you take it apart, you'll see this is 2 plastic pieces with O-rings on it. You take this end and push down to advance it down, and the centerpiece comes out. this O-ring right here, this stupid little, this one at the top is the culprit. So mine was all worn down and puffy. Now it's new and tight so that it doesn't cause interference when it's sliding in and out of this hole. So that's it. Then you just replace that O-ring, go to Ace, get your O-ring, replace it, put it back together just like you took it apart. One of the keys you have to remember is this slot hooks up with this switch. So the switch goes over this plunger, and that's how it works. It moves it back and forth right there on this rocker arm. So you have to make sure that this cross section, you can see how it's got a little cross section on it, like that. Make sure that that cross section is lined up straight up and down, and the back of it actually lines up with a little part inside the hole. So there's a little stabilizer inside this hole when you put this back in that it lines up with. Just line it up so it's straight up and down, and you push it in until the groove lines up with where you took the brass key out of. Just push it back until it lines up with that. Only like a millimeter it pushes in. And then when this white face is flush with this black flange, you push your key back in, just like this, back into the groove. Push that little key in there, whatever you want to call it, I don't know. Probably has a proper name, but I was a machinist for 15 years. I figure I'd know that kind of stuff. Anyway, you put that thing back in, that's what holds the plunger in. Then you're ready to reassemble the head. You put your little black piece back on up here, this little, it goes right over the hole where the screw came out of, right over this hole, okay? So it goes right over that hole. It goes long ways up and down. I don't know if you can see it. See how it goes back on? And then you slide the housing back over it, and it lines up with these, there's grooves inside here. If you can see them or not. Let's see. There's grooves inside this housing that line up with the head itself. It goes right back in, only goes in one way, pops over, and when that hole where you put that little plastic piece lines up with the hole again, you're ready to put the screw back in. You put the screw in. Tighten it down. You know, it only has to be finger tight. It's not holding in any pressure. And then you put your toggle switch back on, and that goes with these little forks down because it has to grab that plunger. So make sure when you put it in at an angle so it goes behind the head of the plunger and grabs it because it has to push it in and out. Then you just snap it on and it's on that fulcrum, and you have a part that actually works again just with one thumb, and you can just push on it and it works much better. Anyway, that's it. Save yourself some money. Don't buy this whole head. It's $150.